media. And sorry, yeah, the meeting is being recorded, and we usually edit to our YouTube page after that. So today the format is informal, so we just want to find out about Marvin's property journey, which will inspire other people in this group, because all of us are in different levels. Other people want to start, other people have started, and other people want to scale up. So we rather speak to people who are doing it, and people who walk the walk. And Marvin is that kind of person who's walked the walk. So Marvin, welcome to ZPI.
Hey, thanks, Tabo. Thanks for calling me, and thanks for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here. Just not only just saying the usual rhetoric, but it is actually a great thing to come across your fellow native people from home who are trying to do something and who are trying to go against the tide. And I think it's an absolutely phenomenal thing. And I think what you just did right there in dispelling the notion that Zimbabweans don't work well together, it's usually said by people who don't like to integrate with other people. And I think the view is always that, look, I believe that it is very true that when you throw any stone anywhere across the world, you always hit a Zimbabwe. It doesn't matter where it is. You do it in Dubai, you hit a Zimbabwe. You do it in the Netherlands, even in Iceland, you'd be surprised you always find one. But I think the most important thing here is that I believe that iron sharpeneth iron. And when we share our ideas and our experiences and our journeys, it can only help another person along the journey. Those who are starting, those who are in the middle of it. And what I always say, Tabo, like when I've spoken to you before, is that, look, we all are on different journeys, but we can always help each other along the way. And it's not always about that, or Marvin is at a certain stage of the journey and he keeps it to himself. No, knowledge is better shared, just as success is sweet when it's shared with other people. So yeah, thank you for inviting me today.
You're welcome. Yeah, well said there. So like to kick off, like my first question to you is why property? There's so many avenues to create wealth, but why did you choose the avenue of property?
I think that's a great question. Why property? I think when you look from time immemorial, really, from where we come from, home, there's always been a quest and an element of ownership. And where we come from, the same things that define you in terms of creating generational wealth or things that you can pass on to other people. Other people can, keep cows, I suppose, and invariably when they pass on, children inherit them. But I think for me, what I wanted to do when I went on to the property space, it wasn't by accident, but it was actually by design. And the way I looked at it for me was that, look, if I was going to leave a legacy for my own children, for my own family and kindred around me, the best thing was to go into property. Now, there's an old adage, I'm sure you've heard of it, that goes, property and land, that's where old money is. And, we can talk about new money in all sorts of forms, but in property and land, that's where old money sits. And I think that's where the motivation came from for me, that, look, when you do it right and you are mentored by the right people around you, you can pass it on from generation to generation. And it's something that can add value to not only just those around you, but the other people that you've got within your circle.
No, that's great. Yeah, so I didn't know that property and land, that's where the old money sits. Yeah, I wrote it down. Yeah, so for someone who's starting, like for someone new, and they actually wanna like step into like this property space, what's the best advice for them to start? Is there any particular strategy you recommend for them to start on?
Okay, it depends. But the way, maybe the best way to answer your question, Tabo, would be if anyone was looking to go onto the property investment path. There's a couple of things that one need to do really, and the most important and profound one is planning. It's down to planning, and how do you plan if you never know that type of trajectory or journey is it's all about alignment. And I believe that when we align ourselves with the right people in the know-how and express an interest to be mentored, then we are in the right path. So what I did for myself, really, to get into the property journey, into the property space, I really wanted to wedge my foot on the door. And I realized that, look, one of the most challenging things that anybody can face or would face if you were to try to go down into the property journey or into the property investment space, it's always about resources. It's always about money, capital, entry-level capital. What sort of entry-level capital do you have to be able to, come in and maybe convince, as we've had conversations about what you've said, Marv, the idea is about using other people's monies, or who are willing to invest in your idea, and you in turn add value to their investments. So the idea is, who then do you go to with a proposition that, look, you know what, I've got this so much amount of money, I'm interested in buying this type of property as an investment property, and these are the yields I'm looking at. And so I would say to anybody who wants to start, look at those who've done it and sit at their feet and ask questions. And the trouble that we always have as Zimbabweans, and I think the challenge, as you did say when you were demystifying in your introduction, is that we never have or find people that are willing to help and share know-how. And I think this is a fantastic platform you have, where you've got like-minded people, because it's all about linking and integrating with like-minded people, that you will find people who would be willing to share without having to worry about, oh, if I helped Tabo, or if I helped anyone within this platform, they become a competition. I believe that together everybody achieves more. And the more people we empower within our network, we become a powerful circle. And that's the limitation we have. But I would say that if anybody wanted to come into the property space, the idea would be to ensure that you plan. And once you plan, and then identify those that can help mentor you along the way. So, I mean, there are other things that one would need to have, obviously, or invariably, i.e. having sufficient funds or deposits and knowing which lenders to go to. So if you were to use lenders or brokers that you would want to identify to help you, then there is a list of various brokers who actually, to be honest with you, are very amenable when it comes to understanding property investors, or those who want to come into the property space. So it's not every Jack and Jill you would go to, but there are specific lenders who would also understand that, look, you might have a very bad credit rating. What I said to you, Tabo, before, I remember in our last conversation, what I said is that, people always think that to be a property investor, you need to have a squeaky clean credit, or you need to have had a very, very good credit report. No, not really. You don't, because usually where security is tied on the property that you're purchasing. But the idea, really, you just want to make sure that you are someone who's of good credence, and who's got a very good reputation, and you've got integrity, and lenders will always be willing to work with you.
For sure. Thank you so much for sharing that. You touched on many points there, but the one which resonates with me the most was mindset, to say anyone can do it. You mentioned anyone can do it a couple of times. Coming from Zimbabwe, we've got, as a community, we've got so many limiting beliefs, things which limit us, we've had our parents say, oh, money doesn't go on trees, and we don't have the money to start off with. But how do you change someone's mindset for them to believe in themselves and pull the trigger, the mindset shift?
Okay. I think changing mindset is always about the willingness to learn. How do I learn from other people? How do other people do it? And I can give you a very good example. So I've always believed on a very, very strange model. And my model has always been a model that I twined in my own words. It's called the reverse model. So what do I mean by a reverse model? I realized a long time ago that, look, to get into certain spaces, one needs to have certain resources. And if I don't have those resources, what's the easiest way of getting there? Ever heard of a saying that goes that, if you hear people saying that, look, okay, fine, I need to do this, but I haven't got the resources. But the question should be not, I haven't got the resources, is how can I do it? There's always a way on one, how can one can do it, as opposed to I don't have the resources. So for example, if I haven't got the money, did you know that there are some lenders and brokers who will help you get 100% funding for to buy to let properties? Did you know that you can get mortgages not only just from mainstream banks, but you can also get them from private lenders who are equally competitive as what you would get from the high street? So there's a depth of knowledge, but changing mindset is down to education. And we can only change our mindset, especially by aligning ourselves with like-minded people. And just as good as what you've got in this forum, I would imagine that people that you've got locked in on this forum are people who want to change the trajectory and their journey paths, and that's what it's all about. But ideally, it's about aligning yourself with like-minded people. So here's the thing, you've heard of this thing, and I'm full of these old cliches, but that's how I roll. But I believe that, look, if you have 1 or 2 or 3 millionaires, and 1 or 3 millionaires you hang around with, you become the 4th. All right. So if you hang around with 5, 6 millionaires, you become the 8th, because the way they function. And if you hang around with 1, 2, 3, 4 property entrepreneurs, you become 1, because you start learning, it starts rubbing off, and you get to understand how they function. So my reverse model, I realized that I wanted to get into properties, but I didn't have the know-how. I didn't have the money to get into there. So what I decided to do, prior to that, I used to own and I still own social care companies, because I look after vulnerable children. So I've got children's homes. So I used to rent quite a lot of properties from private landlords. And it so happened that one of my landlords, who I had a few properties from, who lived in Spain, had an argument with his letting agent. And he turned around, he rang me one day and he said, "Marvin, would you be kind enough to look after 10 of my properties? And all you need to do is just collect rents, and you charge me your commission, and then you bank my monies that are paid by my tenants." And I thought, okay, cool. So I started running rodo lettings from my garage at home. So all I did was I bought a filing cabinet and a desk, and I had a chair, and I started running fast. But then I realized sooner that, look, running a lettings agency from my home was probably not the safest idea for my family, because if tenants were not happy about the landlord, the next thing they'll be knocking on my door. So I then decided to find an office space. But then and the funny thing is, when I actually sought the office space, I was actually going through a very terrible patch, because it was more or less a wilderness experience, because I had shut a business with a business partner, and I was just going through a very difficult time. But I managed to get a space which I managed to spruce up on myself. And the funny thing is, as we all know, that the property game in this country and within this space or paradigm is a very arrogant type of industry. It's a very arrogant type of industry. So if you haven't got the experience, or if you haven't got the tenacity to swim against the tide, you will always find yourself swept off. So I decided to do, like I've always done with most of my businesses, I'm very keen at ensuring that I always have the right faces that represent me. So I employed a white guy who managed my lettings company. And when I put a white face, it snowballed from there. And then the idea really wasn't just to start a lettings company, but it was to twin up with like-minded people who were property owners. So then I started talking to some other landlords, and I remember one guy saying to me, "Marvin, no, you don't have to worry. I'll introduce you to some of my brokers. They're very, very good. They'll help you wedge your foot on the door if you want to buy your first investment property." Then at the time, I had just lost just a business, and I was just thinking, is it the right time, is the right thing to do? But long story short, from there, I bumped onto some good brokers. I managed to, study how auctions function. So when it comes to buying properties from auctions, I'm your guy, because I can tell you what you need to do, what you need to look for, what type of brokers you're looking for, what type of lending you're looking for when you're buying properties from auctions. But I'm sure, as we've discussed, that's another conversation for another day. But if you want me to ask questions, I'm quite happy to indulge. But as I say, that's how my journey. So my reverse model to buying the properties, I started off with the lettings company first. And then we started growing our portfolios. So I had guys who were working for me or working with me. We started developing and getting as many properties that we could in my lettings company. And then I met many landlords. I met many developers. who we are managing 60 properties for. And then from there, you start having conversations with them because they start trusting you. They introduce you to people that they trust, and then it snowballs from it.
Yeah, no, that's wow, that's mind blowing. I think like one key takeaway there, which you kept mentioning a lot, was networking. Speaking to various people, you know, like for example, when the landlord, the one in Spain, came to you, you know, you built a relationship. It was networking, and you managing his properties. You did a good job, and like more properties came, you know. So like as we gathered here, we've seen like the power of networking, how important networking is, and you went on to like did rent to rent, buying, managing people's properties, social housing, lettings agents, and you went on to speak about auctions. For me, I've never played around with auctions.
Okay.
I don't know whether
I'm your guy. I've learned so many things from auctions. I've had my fingers bent from auctions. But something that you touched on, which I did mention as well, always remember that your network is your net worth. All right. So the people that you network with, they invariably lead to your net worth. What becomes your value predominantly is as a result of the network you have. As I did mention earlier to you, that if you've got 4 or 5 millionaires, you become the 6th one. And it's the network you have. So my dad used to say to me when I was young, and I was quite, I have a son. My son is 9 years old, and the bane of my existence is that I see myself in my son, and I try to help him to see things differently. And I can understand why my dad also went through the same emotions. But my dad used to say to me, listen, if you play around with the eagles in life, when you do fall, you fall amongst the clouds. But if you play with sparrows, all you will do is you will fall on rooftops. So you can imagine, if you play with sparrows, all you will do is you hang around rooftops. But play with the eagles. And within this network, you've got a very powerful forum where people can learn, people can come in, knowledge is shared. And again, if it is that you want to learn about auctions, I'm your guy, and I can tell you what you need to do. I can teach you about land banking and all those type of things. That's what we're here for, sharing knowledge. Because remember, knowledge is power. When we have knowledge as a people from Zim, the reason why a lot of people are scared of many Zimbabweans when they walk in through the door, it is because there are very few Zimbabweans who are not knowledgeable. Zimbabweans, wherever they go, they learn a skill. They apply themselves. They seek to make a difference, and they seek to make a name for themselves. But here's the thing. What is powerful is that when we seek to make a name for ourselves, but also integrating with our like-minded fellows, we become a powerful resource.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's so powerful. I just wanted to go back when you mentioned about knowledge gap. You know, you mentioned about knowledge gap. You mentioned about mentorship. When I started my property journey, I paid for mentorship. I spent a lot of money just to bridge that gap. You know, but like as we mentioned, there are some people who are starting off and they don't have that money to pay mentorship. The reason why I paid for mentorship was I wanted to fast track the time, learn from someone who's done it, who's made the failures, and like just buy time for myself. You know, what's your thoughts on paid mentorship versus free mentorship?
Okay, here's the thing. My view is this. I would ask the same. I would ask the question to you, Tabo, and say, and everybody here within the platform is, what does success and your journey mean to you? What does it mean to you? Here's the thing. People that tend to invest on their journeys, they are serious about their journeys. And if I'm to look for mentorship, paid mentorship, it shows how much that mentorship means to me. Yes, resources are scarce. Money is not easy to come by. We are in a paradigm where a lot of people have lost jobs. Even if the confidence in the industry is quite difficult. But here's the thing, always remember this, that every crisis always presents an opportunity for somebody. There's some people that have made a shared killing, massive killing out of the COVID-19 paradigm. And there's some people that have struggled out of the COVID-19
Yeah.
One is that you wanna, if you measure or if you want to judge a tortoise by its ability to climb a tree, you're probably, and that's Albert Einstein, you're probably asking the wrong question or a proposition to a tortoise. But I believe that if you are wanting to be mentored and you do get people that would give you a good quality mentorship, then consider their value. Here's the thing, everybody has got value. Mentors have got value. If you're to approach, I remember a few years ago, and I was only starting in business, and I decided to approach a professor who was a business advisor from the Warwickshire University Business School. And I remember he was that good. The guy used to charge me £795 an hour, just for an hour to be with him. And I invested on 5 sessions. But those 5 sessions I invested with him, I've never been the same. So my attitude, I talk to him today, and there's certain people that I do mentor and I do charge them, but there's certain people that I don't charge for mentorship. So it depends what you want to do. If somebody wants to have a conversation with me for half an hour, I don't need to charge you, but I can help and talk to you. And then you can make a decision on your own as to whether, like, look, you know what Marvin has said is very helpful. I like to do more. Can you come up with some form of mentorship package for me? We can always do that. But mentorship is a fantastic thing. Absolutely 100%.
Nah, 100% second you on that. Like I'm always screaming and shouting about mentorship. Like if you want to learn, like, when someone wants to learn how to drive, they go to a driving instructor and they do that kind of stuff. But like when someone wants to buy property, and property is like a big investment, like people want to read a book, like, or watch YouTube videos and jump straight into it, but it doesn't work like that. I'll quick fire like 3 more questions to you, then we can open the floor, because I know other people have got questions to you. When you started your journey and to where you are right now, what's the one thing which you wish you knew from the beginning?
Okay. One thing that I wish I knew from the beginning, I would probably say, I wish I could have done it a lot more earlier. Yeah, I wish I could have done it a lot more earlier. And I think I was pretty young then. I think I've got Bukosi here. He's my father-in-law, so I need to be very careful with what I say, because I know he's in the platform. So you might probably be calling some more cows. But I think I should have done it earlier. And remember, fortune favors the brave. And I think in my days, when you are young, you always think you've got time. But essentially, though, it's who you network with. And I think if I'd known that earlier, that would have helped my trajectory. But then again, at the same time, I'm very thankful, because nothing is ever an accident. Someone once said that, what's his name? The previous US president, Mr. Donald Trump, he became a president at the age of 75, right? At the age of 75. Barack Obama was a president at far earlier than that. So it's never too late for anybody. So if you are probably 44, 49, in fact, I would say to you, Tabo and Muzi, that buying a property at the age of 40 is still a boss move. So it's never late. And going into property investment at the age of 45, 49, you are never left behind. It's about what you want to put in and how you work it in, and what sort of knowledge you have. That helps. So having essential skills and understanding that, look, if you're going to have to borrow money, how do you manage money? Understanding that it's very important that you gain the necessary skills to be credit worthy, because being credit worthy is very good. If anybody's going to borrow you any form of money, and I think we've had those type of conversations, Tabo, where I've said to you that, look, if anybody is to borrow money from anybody, you get questions about your credibility and integrity. That's very important. But if ever there's something that I can look back and honestly share with you, is I could have done it earlier. But I think God always knows how to shape things, because the time I started, and I'm sure probably if I had started earlier, I could have wasted it. But where I am, I'm very thankful. God has helped me to not only just sustain, but still continue growing and take tells me he's going to be better at it than myself, and I'm raring to see the challenge.
For sure, for sure. Thanks for sharing that. To be honest, I personally don't like talking about failures and challenges, but we've all of us have had a failure or we've had a challenge, you know.
Right.
But I just wanna like pick, like, you choose one failure from you, which and how you overcame it, you know. Like, it could be a failure in business or property related, you know, and how you overcame it, and so we don't make the same mistakes.
I think failure is a natural part of life. When you fail, never beat yourself down. But you see, someone who's failed is a lot more better than someone who's never tried. Do you understand? So when you fail, when you come back at it again, you're not starting from zero, but you're starting from experience. So always remember that when you have failed, that doesn't mean that you are written off. But when you failed, it actually says that, look, lessons learned, I'll dust myself up, pick myself up, and carry on. So here's the thing. I think I've failed many times than I've succeeded. But where I have succeeded, I've succeeded big time. So you see where I am. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, you know, where you win big. Never mind the failures. I can tell you about so many places and so many times. So my first one, I remember my first failure, and I'm very, very, very critical of myself. So I'm always my own competition. So I don't believe in competing with other people. I run my own lane, and that's how I am. So I'm my best critic, and I suppose maybe one of my other critics is my family member. But I'm the kind of guy that when I brush my teeth in the morning, I look at myself in the mirror, I have serious conversations with myself, and I do that all the time. So being self-reflective is a very important thing. I bought a property many years back from an auction, and it was a piece of land. So I do what we call land banking, and I bought a piece of land, and it came with some notes on it that it had potential for planning permission. So what I didn't realize then at the time, I hadn't done my homework. So from there, I put a deposit for it. And when I have put a deposit down for it, I found myself in a situation when I went to seek planning permission. No, it wasn't straightforward, and I couldn't get planning permission. So when I done the pre-planning up, I then decided not to complete at the auction, which was the greatest mistake ever, because once the gavel falls at the auction, you have the duty to discharge your obligation because the purchase is pretty much yours and you have to see it through. So I put a deposit for £2,500. I'd won the bid for £26,000, and I decided not to complete. So what the vendor decided to do, they decided to list it in the next auction, and they sold it for 13,000, and they called for the difference of the other money from the previous auction for myself. I tried to fight it that at the courts. It failed. I tried to do some legal representation myself as a litigant in person because I had done law at university. It didn't work. It was a very difficult time. But one lesson learned was that, look, no, do your homework. If you're to buy a property, whether be it you're buying it from an auction, whether you're buying it from an estate agent or you're buying it from a friend, always do your due diligence first and always honor up to your word. So that's a failure to me. It was a failure. And I've also failed many times. I've shut business. I've had business partners before where we shut businesses. But for me, the way I look at it, it was never a failure, but it was a lesson learned, because I sit down in my office numerous amount of times and I have deja vu moments. And I feel like, you know what, I've lived this day before. What did I do on this particular? Yes, I remember this is the mistake I made, and I will avoid that particular mistake. But the thing is, the kind of person I am, I'm a very daring person. So if I have a mountain to run through, I will run through it, and I'll deal with the consequences later. But that's just me. Other people may not want to do it that way. But yes, I've had many failures, but my failures, for me, I've always used it. Just like, have you ever driven a turbo engine car?
No, I don't have a Porsche or a Lamborghini like you, my friend.
Okay. So if you've ever driven, if you've ever driven a
you see, people with Lamborghinis, yeah.
I know. I knew where you were going to go. But anyway, so how a turbo engine works is this: a turbo engine it. So for example, if you can imagine when we were all doing science at school, we knew about compression, exhaust, and how the engine cycles work. A turbo engine uses its exhaust fumes to repower itself. Does that make sense? It uses its exhaust fumes to repower itself, and it supercharges the engine again. So remember this, your failure, if you use your failure or your moments when you failed, use it as a way of turbo boosting yourself back again into the game, you will go far. Always remember this, Tabo, Muzi, remember this, and everybody, that in order for a plane to take off, its speed has to always be greater than its drag. So when your speed is greater than your drag, you will lift. Always remember that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's wow, I'm mind blown. That's so powerful, you know. I've got one more question, and I'll open the floor for other people to ask questions. Yes. You know, you've just been dropping so much knowledge, and some of it you've been quoting like really like top profile speakers, books. You know, what books do you read? Like, what's that one book which has inspired you a lot, which you want to share with us? And so if anyone is in this call, they can grab the copy of the book and, you know, probably start reading it as well.
I'm not being unprofessional, but there's a book that I took a screenshot of, and I've never been able to put it down. It's a simple book. It's a simple book called On Mental Toughness. If you look for it online, it's a book written by a guy called Martin E.P. Seligman, on mental toughness. Read a book called On Mental Toughness. It's if you've ever read anything else from the Harvard Business Review, read that particular book. That book, one, it will coach you on, if you are a person wanting to go on any form of investment, it will talk to you about how to develop the right frame of mind. Two, it will teach you and support you on developing resilience. So resilience is about how you deal with failure. How do you deal with challenges? How do you deal with turbulences? How do you deal with setbacks? And also as well, it will also teach you or talk to you through how some of the best business performers around the world have used stress as a way of powering themselves. There's also another book that I've enjoyed called Millionaire Next Door. If you check, it's written by various authors. It's called The Millionaire Next Door. It's a quite fantastic book. And you can just read and hear how other people are so frugal in terms of developing generational wealth and how they monetize certain things to make themselves some wealth. And then another one that I've also enjoyed reading is a book called How to Get Rid of Bad Habits. If you check it online, you'll find it there. It's there. But I like reading. I like reading short articles. I like reading and follow other good business, buddies, and learning from those who have done well and those that have done bad, and picking up lessons from them.
Wow, no, that's powerful. As I say, readers are leaders. So like we've seen that coming from you as well. So guys, Marvin, if people want to connect with you, I'll let other people ask questions, but if you can tell us where they can find you, like if people want to connect with you, where are you most active? Is it Instagram, social media, email, whatever? Where can someone reach you?
Instagram, you can find my handle on Instagram. So it's Marvin Gabs. You'll find me there. On Facebook, again, it's Marvin Gabs. You'll find me there. So those are, I tend to, I respond to messages. On LinkedIn, I'm also there as Marvin Gabs. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, more than welcome to find me on those handles. And I'm sure you will share the details anyway after the presentation or when you publish it on YouTube, whichever way. But I'm quite open for anybody to contact me to have a conversation or any form of support.
For sure. Now, thank you so much. I'll open the floor, guys, for anyone with any questions. Just raise your hand or come off mute. If you're shy, you can put the question in the chat box. I'll ask on your behalf. There you go. Who's first?
I'll go first.
Nice one, Brian. Go ahead and go for it, mate. Brian, you still there? Brian.
We've lost Brian.
Okay. Okay.
I'll just ask a question whilst we're waiting for Brian to come back.
Brian,
That's
no,
okay.
go ahead.
Firstly, Marvin, that was fabulous. That was
Thank you.
absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for that. There's something that you touched on. I think the term that you used was fortune favors the brave.
Yes.
Fortune favors the brave. I just wanted to find out if you could just get into that a little bit more, and also what your opinions are on anyone who says that you've been lucky.
Okay.
I know it kind of sort of coincides with each other. I really want to hear what your point of view on this is.
Okay. You see, I don't believe in lucky. I don't believe in luck, but I believe that where preparation meets opportunity, then you have success. So where preparation meets opportunity, you have success. So to me, the word lucky never exists in my language, because it would be then to mean that, look, you know what, I just got this on an off chance, I bumped into it. No. If I went into something, into a contract, into a deal, it is because I was prepared for it, and I actually placed myself. Remember, when you place yourself at the right place and being at the right time, or what I did say, that where preparation meets opportunity, you've got a bombshell, then you've got success. But in terms of going back to the other question that you just put there, Muzi, I believe that fortune favors the brave. Here's the thing: when you don't put yourself out there, how would people know that you've got this kind of interest? How would people know? You know, and remember, when you just show up. You know, I have this thing I always say to my colleagues, even at work and even some of my relatives, is that, look, sometimes it doesn't matter how difficult things are in life. Just show up. Just show up. You know, you may be having a very difficult time. Like right now, I would imagine that there's someone within this platform who probably doesn't even have a pound to their name in the bank account, but they would want to go into properties. But the best thing that they've done today is to show up in this particular platform. And within this particular platform, you would be surprised if I told you that you can buy a property with zero funds from yourself, and you can get an investment property just like that. You can. But it's who, remember what I said, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so when you have people or certain people in the right places and right spaces, it sets you up. So fortune favors the brave. If you want to get out there and buy a property, get out there. Even without nothing, get out there. Trust me, you will learn something.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I believe the same things, and I'm really excited to hear that someone actually thinks the same way, and listening to the way that you explain that is absolutely fantastic. We create our own luck, and whenever things happen at some point, it might look like it's just happened at that point, but it's something we've been doing for a long time to meet that opportunity. So absolutely brilliant. Thanks for that, Marvin.
Yeah, there's never luck. I don't believe it. It's preparation meeting opportunity. And then you've got a massive explosion. When you prepare yourself, here's the thing: when you prepare yourself, invariably you will have opportunities, because you will place yourself at the right places because you're preparing yourself. It's like, you know, when you prepare for exams, if you're at university and you've done all your work and the questions come, would you say that was luck when you're successful? No, you're prepared for it. You know, and it's like people who pray to pass exams and they haven't read. Come on, how is that going to work? You know, it's not going to work. You know,
that was me. Yeah. I used to pray.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you can pray. You can pray, but you still have your part. It's like again, I've got a few people that I know within this platform, so I need to be very careful on what I say. But here's the thing: you know, we can't ask God to bless us. We can't ask God to bless us when we don't play our part. Here's the thing: I ask God to help me put food on the table. But God and reason to go and apply and look for a job or set up a business to what? To make money and therefore put food on my table. So God does not take away responsibility from us when we ask for his blessings. He still expects us to play our part. So again, when you want to buy properties, again, is aligning yourself with the right people, with the like-minded people who will help you on your journey to getting to the next level.
No, for sure. No, that was powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I've got one book which I want to share with you guys on luck. You know, there's a book called Great by Choice by Jim Collins as well. He debunks the myth that there's nothing called luck. You know, it's about preparation. You know, he speaks about all the world leaders, like how many other people could have had the same opportunity, but other people like are just great by choice because they make those choices. So the book is called Great by Choice by Jim Collins. So if you haven't read it, I would recommend it. We've got another question from, is it Chrissy? Chrissy, you've got a question?
Yep, I have. Hi, Marvin. Is it Marvin?
Hi, Chrissy. Yes, it's Marvin.
And thank you so much. It's been really powerful. My question is, I've called quite a lot of people wanting to work with me, and what I've actually been doing is turning them away, just saying to them that I haven't got the time, because I've got a business partner that I'm working with. I recently had someone I've been building relationship with. We've just been talking, building relationship. And what he said to me, he said, look, I really want to work with you. And I can actually invest 5,000 or 10,000. Will you be willing to work with me? And I've actually thought about it. Do I choose 10 people away, or what advice will you give if you do have investors coming to you that they want to work with you, but you haven't got the time to actually work with them?
That's a very interesting question. I think it's always down to, and I think one of the other things, Tabo, that I needed to do, and everyone, when we started the conversation, I should have said, and I will say this to say that I'm not a financial advisor, but if anybody wanted any form of financial advice in any way, shape, or form, always look for financial advisors that are regulated by the FCA within this country. It's very, very important that you do that, because people will tell you all sorts of things, Chrisley, about monies. But the point I'll come up to is this, that when it comes to partnerships, always do your due diligence regarding people. People are always scared doing business on their own. It's never a frightening thing doing business on your own. Doing business with business partners is also a boss move, but know who you are doing business with. Here's the thing. The Bible says to us that can two people walk together without an agreement? Chances no, they'll never walk together. But know who you are doing business with. If you're going to do business with someone that who you have not checked and you don't even know their credibility, chances are you will have your fingers bent down the way. And always know, always remember that who you are doing business with will always have an impact in your life. Business is like a marriage. So if you're going to be in marriage with somebody who you do not know, what do you think is going to happen at the end of the day? It's always going to be arguments. And I always say this to people, is that if you want to see people's true colors, always involve them and put them where money is involved. You see characters all the time, all the time. So take your time, Chrissy, and I'll say that, look, you know, if anybody wants to be a business partner, you should have your own way on how you can check people out and you know, reference them and check them out, just so you know what sort of credibility this individual, what sort of experience this individual, before you can invite them. Because remember, some people would want to come and piggyback onto something that is already going, and they reap the benefits for something that they never planted in. So always remember that.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Marvin, for that. We've got another question from Mel. Oh, Brian, are you back?
I am. I hope you can hear me.
Can hear you. Brian, yeah, you can hear you. Go on, Brian. Then we'll take
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think I need to stop, because if I keep walking, I probably will lose you again. So yeah, thanks for that. My question is, how do you maintain a balance between competitive in your business. You note of what you said in retrospect to say you don't like to compete. I mean, how do you, because in any business realm, your business has to prosper, which means, you know, you probably have to do things that other people are not doing. So how do you maintain a balance with your
I can't hear him properly. But if what I think you said, Brian, is how do you maintain between the balance between competition and what else? What did you say? Balance between competition and what else? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you remember you said you said yourself you don't like competing with other people, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Absolutely, 100%.
Right. Okay. So my question was, yeah, great. So how do you then, as a business, because as a business, you have to have that competitive edge. So how do you keep that balance between not trying to compete with other people or with other business competitors and not competing with them? I know it's kind of a difficult question, but the fact that you'd rather not compete with other people, how do you then maintain to keep your business at the top, to be the person to go to?
Okay, so when I mentioned to you that I don't compete with anybody, for me it's always on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
On a personal level, I don't need to compete with anybody.
Right, okay.
I don't. I run on my own lane. I run on my own lane, so I don't have to compete with anybody because I know what I want and I know what I need. But when you're talking about the business competitive edge, either on a cost advantage or on a competitive advantage, that's a totally different realm. But here's the thing though, always in business, you always have to have your own unique selling point. I don't have to worry about what other companies do. I may have an idea of what they're doing, but what I'm always quite keen on is about what my USP in my own company is. And that's what my identity is all about. And remember, those who come to do business with us, albeit the facade of a business, they buy into people within the business. So if you've got people of integrity, people that deliver on their words, people will come and do business with you. So you don't have to worry about what the other guy next door is doing. Do your own business and make sure that you've got your own unique selling point and you're delivering on what you're saying, and you've got business.
Wow. Awesome. No, I think that's quite interesting, because I think the other thing that a lot of people miss out is, I always like this saying that says, by diminishing someone else's light, it doesn't make yours any brighter. And I think as Zimbabweans, I think that's one thing that we need to learn, to say, you know, by stepping on somebody's foot doesn't mean it's going to make your business any brighter.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
You know what, Brian? The reason why so many people fail in life in life is this. People like to copy other people in life, forgetting that life's exams are designed and they're detailed and tailored for one person. So your life's exam is Brian's exam. Marven's life exam is Marven's life exam. And the reason why people fail, it is because I want to copy Tabo. I want to copy Muzi, but you don't realize that Muzi's journey is Muzi's journey. And I can't copy Muzi's journey because the hurdles that Muzi, the hurdles that Muzi or Tabo or Mel or yourself, Brian, will go through are your own hurdles. And they're not tailored to mine. So what's the point? So the point is that concentrate on where you are and always seek to be the better version of yourself every day.
Right. Okay. No, that's fine. I appreciate it. I think that's cool. Appreciate it.
No, that was great. Great question, Brian. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
next one is from Mel. We're gonna take Mel, then we'll take Ben after. I think there's a couple of questions in the chat box. I'll come to those after. Yeah. So Mel, Ben, and chat box.
Hello. Hi, Uncle Marvin.
Hi, Mel.
So I wanted to ask, so this is more like a gender-based sort of question. So being a female, like sort of getting into this world of property, have you encountered, like, you know, or do you have any sort of like networks with other females and, you know, their journeys sort of because I feel like this sort of market sometimes it can be quite male dominated, and sometimes to thrive it's as if like you've got to have certain masculine tendencies to, you know, compete and like sort of make it really. So I just wanted to ask, that's the first question, based on like, you know, and maybe advice from females that are getting into this industry as well. And then another question was, when you don't have like capital to invest into like a property straight away, have you encountered, you know, like deal sourcing for investors, and, you know, what's your advice on like deal sourcing if you've ever done it, or if someone has approached you trying to do a similar thing, then would you advise somebody to deal source before like going into, you know, being an investor themselves? Or yeah.
Yes, I have. I've met quite a numerous number of female entrepreneurs and female property investors, and I've actually mentored a few. And you know what, the world now has become such a different type of world, where previously, you know, there were you know, such, you know, I suppose such environments where females did certain types of businesses and males did. No, it's changed now. We're living in a society where, you know, you can go into a plane and your captain is a female pilot, you know, and that should never be a deterrent for you if you want to go into business, or thinking that, look, you know, if I want to go into property investment, it's a male dominated environment. You'd be surprised that actually some of the most successful property entrepreneurs I know are actually female, because women are organized. Women are very, very organized. And when you get clued women who are doing business in properties, you'll be surprised that they know how to resource. In fact, there's I think Tabo, I was talking to you the other day, and there's something that you sent me in terms of checking out your YouTube channel, and I was having a look at your YouTube channel, and immediately after your YouTube channel, after watching your YouTube channel, there was actually a suggestion of another young lady who's from, I think she's from London, and she has a partner with another young lady, and they're actually doing some serious great things. And actually, I've had conversations with them, and, you know, we've exchanged notes on a few things. So it's quite possible. So never allow that to be a deterrent. So in terms of raising capital, yes, there are various ways of raising capital. You can either use brokers, you can, you know, use deals where I think Tabo is using a different platform of raising capital, which actually works. So it's all up to you. It's just, it depends on what works for you, Mel. And if you want to go for it, by all means, 100%. And if you wanted to be mentored in terms of identifying the right deals, the right people to go to, understanding what yields and interest rates, how it works, by all means, reach out. Well, Mel is my young sister, so she knows where I am, and she's got my personal number, so you know where Uncle is, so you'll find me.
Thank you so much. That was helpful.
Cool.
Thanks.
Now, just to add that, Mel, in the ZPI, in the WhatsApp group and in the Facebook group, we've got loads of females. There, like my wife is in there. Muse's wife, Charlene, is in there. Like, there's a lot of females. Even right now in the code, there are females who are actually killing it in property. So you don't have to look far. You're in the right place. You know, they're slaying you there. We're saying, yeah, we're females. Yeah. So there's a lot of females. So we.
Hey, you missed me. You didn't mention me. I'm there.
And everyone. So Linda, well, I shouldn't have mentioned it. You see, I've opened a can of
worms. Let's connect, guys. Please leave your Instagram things, then I can get to connection with other females as well, please. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. We'll do that. We'll take another. We've got a next question from Ben. Then go to the chat, and after that, we'll take Tendai. Tendai's got a question there. Go on, Ben.
Thanks, Sabo. Thanks, Marvin, for sharing, you know, everything that you shared earlier. I just wanted to quickly say that, you know, I concur with you in terms of running in your own lane. You know, I think in this property market, there's enough room for everybody. You just have to, you know, you need to have your own integrity, and that's what people buy into. It's a people business, really. So yeah, so big up for that. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask what your current strategy is and what you're currently working on in the property or development field. And that was literally it, just so I could know a bit more about what you're doing.
Okay, it's a very good one. I am, okay, currently I'm working on a development where I've made an offer for that particular development. So we've got it all going through at the moment. It's a development of building 60, so 6 apartments. This is a combination of 31-bed self-contained apartments and also 32-bed self-contained apartments. The development, buying the land and the current space it's in with 3 derelict properties, it's cost about 1.3 million. The cost of developing a unit, it costs about £25,000 to develop just 1 unit. So when I talk about unit, I'm talking about a flat. Just to build 1 flat, it cost me about 20 to 25,000 pounds. So if it's 60, I'm talking about nearly anything close to that amount of money. But the total cost of buying and purchasing and completing the build is not going to be anything more than 3.7 million, with a view of selling it for 11.5 million.
Interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's massive. Just curious. Obviously, you mentioned there self-contained units. Are you predominantly keeping those for your social care business? Are you integrating that into that, or are you just looking to open market sell them all?
You know, that's a very good question, and I prayed that nobody would ask me such a question. And the thing is, I think I'm going through a transition in my life where I have been in the social care space for a very long time. I don't know whether I want to stay in it for a long time or I want to go, but I've been in it for a while. And just excuse me, please. I have some of my properties which are used by my company in my social care company. So what I did over the years, and what I've always done over the years, is that if you own a business, and there's various ways of owning properties. So we've got what we call SPVs. We will talk about this at some point, and I did mention this to Tabo. We've also got SaaS, which is SAS, which is another medium for raising capital for buying properties. The SPVs are special purpose vehicles, which are companies, which are limited companies that you can open up. Anybody can open up an SPV and register it. And the idea behind it is that lenders actually love people who own SPVs because they have a certain element of ensuring that their securities are safe. And also as well, you've also got a certain level of protection because they act as trustees for any form of investment when you're buying property. But that's another conversation for another day. So I do have properties which are owned by my social care company. I do have properties that I own myself, and I also have properties that I've put in trusts for my children. So if anything was to happen to me and I'm wiped out off the face of the earth, then my children would have some form of inheritance that is tucked safely for them. But ultimately, though, the idea is just about just creating that generational wealth and also spreading the risk. Because when you own properties, always remember this, that just we didn't know what COVID-19 was going to do to all of us. And I think one of the questions that Tabo did ask me was, how do you operate business, or how is this current paradigm affected your business? So you realize that over the last year, from when we went into lockdowns to where we are, found myself in a situation where we've got over £67,000 worth of rent arrears on properties, and tenants have not been able to service those. And when they're not servicing those, invariably, it also impacts you on making sure that your lenders are also are paid their monies. But those are the kind of things that you have to have in mind. That look, as a property investor, when you do have tenants, or if you're keeping properties, if you're not selling them. So now I'm in a space where I develop and sell as opposed to buying and keeping. But it depends. Some properties I still have attachments on. I've done a few and the numerous programs with Homes Under the Hammer. So there's some properties that I've done stuff on Homes Under the Hammer that I find very difficult to get rid of, because they've got that sentimental touch, if that makes sense, Ben.
Yeah, no, it does. I developed myself, so I was just curious to hear what you guys are doing and what you're looking at. Have you done anything with with housing associations, or built anything, or had properties where you're working in partnership with them, or anything like that?
Yeah, so I have properties that I've sold to housing associations. So I've had properties where I've had, landlords that own HMOs that they've bought from me, where I've done them up, and halfway down the line, and someone has decided to give me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And started to offload and let it go. But I think over the years, I've also learned that when it comes to properties, there's no point holding onto a property for a long time. If there's an opportunity for you to buy and sell, and this is a business model, again, I'm not selling it to anybody, but other people may find that, look, buying and offloading properties is a good business model for them. Why not? You can buy properties, fix them up, and I'm speaking to Tabo, I think he's doing the same thing, where you buy properties, once they're all sorted out and they're sold, then you pay whatever investors that would have put in money, you remain with your commissions and you walk away. So there's always a value proposition and a business model there.
No, that's great. No, thank you for providing that overview. I'll be sure to connect with you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's connect.
Yeah,
Let's connect.
yeah, definitely. Thanks, Tabo. I won't take up much more time.
No worries, Ben. Yeah, so thanks, Ben. You're the guest speaker next month, mate. I've mentioned to you that many times. So Marvin, Ben is in land developments as well. So
Awesome.
I connected with him through Clubhouse. We've got one more question from, we'll do the chat box first, then we'll go to Tendai. So there was a question from, where is it? Shelley. So Shelley asked the question, I think it was how long do you have to be prepared for to start in property? That's my interpretation of that. So how long do you need to prepare for you to pull the trigger and start in property?
I would answer and say it's entirely up to you. How long is this? It's as long as a piece of a shoestring, isn't it? So if you're prepared and you've got the resources, and maybe you've got that appetite, because it's all about the appetite. And if you've got the appetite to get yourself in, we were talking about, the old adage that fortune favors the brave. And if it's such that you are prepared and you want to learn on the journey, by all means. But if you've done your research and you've got the right mentors around you, I would say dip your feet in, wedge your foot on the door, and there'll be mistakes you, because you can never go into it with all the full knowledge and do it perfectly. But there'll be pitfalls along the way, and that's the very good thing about it, because they always give you a point of reference.
For sure, yeah. So I always say acquire information, as much information as you can, and just pull the trigger. Just do it. There'll never be.
Can I just say this as well, Taro? What I also want to say to people as well that are within this particular forum is that if you want to go into property to get rich quickly, you are probably in the wrong place. Okay? Going into property will not make you rich tomorrow. It's never a get rich quick scheme when you go into property. But when you go into property, you've got to be in it for the long haul. That's always important. So if you buy a property today and then you decided to sell it tomorrow and you're thinking you're going to be rich, it takes time to build equity. The properties, the values on properties, they go up and down. It's just like stocks and shares. And again, just to warn everybody who's in this platform, over the lockdown, we've had a huge demand of properties being bought because of, the favors and the incentives that the government is putting for people, i.e. freezing stamp duties and all the rest of it. But all that is going to soon come to an end. And I can tell you now, guaranteed, 2021, we will see a massive drop in prices for properties. We will find that's going to happen. But there are those who will also take advantage, who are prepared to buy low when it slumps down and make more money when the economy recovers. Right now, we're going into a recession, and it's the truth and it's a fact. But those who know how to play the game, they know when to buy low and make money when everything goes up. But again, as I said, look, if you are hoping to go into property to make money quickly, you're probably in the wrong platform. But if you want to make money in the long haul, then you're in the right place.
For sure. No, thanks for that. We've got one more question from the chat. So that's from Talent. Does Marvin plan to do any mentoring programs for aspiring property investors? I think you touched on mentoring. So someone is asking if you are mentoring programs.
Yes, I do have mentoring programs. So if you get in touch with myself or you inbox me, my PA Lisa will come back to you, and then she will arrange a session with you, and then we take it over from there.
Okay, cool, for sure. Thanks for that. Tendai Mutanga, you can come on, ask your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank Mozi and Tabo for arranging this meeting. Thank you very much. It was very informative. And I've got a question for Marvin.
Yes.
Marvin, I just wanted to know how you're doing it, like as we are building this wealth and preserving it for our kids. How are you doing it? I know you explained it a little bit with wills and insurance, but can you just clarify how important it is? And because you've already touched on it, and some of our background, coming from we've got some cultural constraints with the mindset of understanding insurance, and I don't know if I've made myself clear.
Say your question again, Tendai. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I'm saying as we are trying to preserve wealth for kids,
yes.
Can you stress how important are the wills and the insurance in preserving, like, the trusts?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you own anything in life, and it probably even if you don't own anything, it's always important to have a will. And I think, when you get to a certain age in life, you then get to understand that your mortality is soon to expire at some point, because every day that goes, the closer you are encroaching to your resting place. But to some of us who are Christians, we always live with a greater hope that it's not the end all and be all, just by the grave, but there's always something better. But when it comes to preserving things as anybody or any person or any individual, even on your own, if you're living on your own, I would say have a will. If you have a family, have a will. Do a will, because we have a thing in this country that those that die interstate. So people who die interstate are people who die without having formulated a will. And if you die interstate, all your assets, whether be it your home that you did not put in a will, it goes to the crown. It gets owned by the crown. And your children also as well become invariably children of the crown. So you will find that your children will go into local authorities and they become looked after children. But if you do specify in your will where you want even something as small as a chair or even your car, it helps. And again, if you've got a home and you put it in a trust for your children, and again, as I did say earlier, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can give you cues, Tendai, as to the importance of having things such as trust. And trust don't cost a lot of money. You can talk to any financial advisor, and it costs as little as £13, £12 a month to actually put your stuff and your properties in trust. And when they're in trust, they are protected. It doesn't matter what happens to you. No one will poke in their hands and take it away from your family, because those items have been put and saved and kept in trust.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, yeah, that was powerful. And it's 7 o'clock now, so unless anyone has got a burning question, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Marvin, for taking your time to come to share with us wisdom and knowledge, things which have inspired us. But what's more important for everyone in this group is, yes, we've got the inspiration, but it's for us to take the action, because no knowledge without implementation is nothing. So we just want to take the action, do the work, So we've had so many wise words, so many strategies and tips being shared in the group. We will have another group monthly call in the ZPI group. Moose is going to share those details in the WhatsApp group and on the Facebook group. So if you're not connected on the Facebook group, I think there was a Facebook link on the chat. But for now, I want everyone to unmute themselves, and we give a big thank you to Marven, and thank you for everyone for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Marven.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Bye,
Thank you very much.
everyone. Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Marvin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
Thank you, Marvin.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say something with you and Muzi, that I think one of the most interesting one I would want to share with your valued members in your group is about buying properties from auctions and buying land. Yeah, it's a presentation I've done numerous amount of times. It's there on YouTube. Those who want to might have a look at it, and if there's space, I'm quite happy to come in and present it, and to help people to understand that actually buying properties from auctions is not scary. In fact, if anything, it's cool.
Yeah, therefore we'll 100% organize that one, Muzi. So
yeah,
myself,
awesome,
organize that.
Awesome.
But
Thank you very much for having me.
It was powerful, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, guys.
And at the time, it's a great win. But
Cheers. Ben, at least you've got the tip for next month.